Hey y'all, this is Liam.
And it's Jen.
And we're so glad you've joined us for an episode of the limited podcast series, Unlimited Time Magic with Jen and Liam.
A place where we have honest, raw, unhinged, usually sober conversations about Disney, travel, and just life.
Now, I know you're a little spooked, you're a little scared, but don't be afraid to follow us on Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic.
And you know what would really help? Go ahead and give us a rating on the Apple Podcast app if you like what you hear. If you don't like it, don't worry. You've got a busy life. No reason to take the time. But if you love it, go ahead and go on there. Give us a rating. It helps us a lot.
Now sit down, buckle your seatbelts, put your arms up and relax. Oh, and y'all, if you've been ever afraid that the magic is like dead inside, remember that the magic's you. Enjoy the episode, y'all. Did I scare you?
A little bit, but that's not new.
Oh, I'm wearing my Disneyland shirt. Look at this cool colored cup.
What is going on? What is in there? Pistachio something?
Why would this be pistachio?
Looking for something Disney to have with me because I was feeling like you were all Disney-like and I didn't have anything. So I'll just...
Query me this, Jen LaForge TM.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. That's more like it. Kermit the Frog here. Why are the Disneyland... Like, Disneyland and Disney World are now on this kick that they have the same merchandise, they just changed the branding. But why does Disneyland's always look so much cuter and Disney World's doesn't?
Disneyland, because if you are buying Disneyland merch, you probably live in California and the taxation is killing you. So it's harder to get you to part with your money.
Y'all, I survived a common cold this week. I thought my life was going to be eventful and I didn't wish COVID on myself, but I was like, oh, something funky's happening. I really don't want to go to work with COVID. Until like 2 days into my cold, where it was like my cold. I took a COVID test, then took another one 2 days later, negative both times. And everybody in my life currently has COVID. So how's your week going, Jen?
You just had a bad cold. That's all. Yeah, I'm okay going public with the COVID part of my world. I am, because I don't know where I got it. Walt Disney World. And I didn't, what we know for sure, I'm wondering if this is the frog going to add to the podcast or take away. If you're listening and not watching on YouTube, you're missing out on something.
And also follow us on Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic.
You're missing out.
No, that looks like a funeral march. That looks like a funeral march.
He's fine. Just kidding.
You dead.
Yeah. So so I'm not going to get into everything that hit the fan when I got home, but suffice it to say that when did I leave Disney World? Saturday morning.
Yes. Saturday
morning, I left the Contemporary having coffee on the balcony of my one-bedroom villa.
She was vibing, if you would.
It was absurd. It was absolutely absurd and lovely.
It was her last holiday.
Who knew? Who knew? He's not far from wrong. I pack up. Everything's brilliant. Flight's easy. Nobody sits next to me, which, with what happens next is important for everyone. Although we were all coming from Walt Disney World, and apparently all of Walt Disney World currently has COVID. So the odds that someone else gave it to someone else on the plane, pretty gosh darn good. I had also got, what did I say? My fourth jab 2 weeks before I left. So keep in mind, I've got 4 immunizations in me at this point, the 2 regular ones and my 2 boosters. And I got sick, sick, but I was only sick for 3 days, and it felt like not as bad as the flu, worse than a cold, but not as bad as the flu. And when I took my COVID test, because by the way, I tested while I was down there once too, because you had said you had a cold, and I was like, okay, I brought this test. I'm going to test just to be careful. Tested when I started feeling sick when I got home on Saturday. I never saw a COVID test turn positive so fast in my life. You know how usually
for sure.
Yeah.
Check engine.
Yeah, it was, I was like, I didn't even walk away yet. I did the drop or I hadn't even walked away yet.
15 minutes, start the time. Oh, no, I don't need to start the timer at all. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's not needed, actually.
Kermit was like, I'd like you to sleep in the other room. No,
Yeah.
I FaceTimed Jen, and it was like FaceTiming Fontaine and Les Mis. She was on death row, for sure. She had a baby to take care of, but couldn't afford to take care of her. So she gave her to Jean Valjean.
Oh, dear.
It was, but other than that,
At the end of the day, I see what I just did. So we discussed before we started recording that COVID has taken away not my sense of taste, not my sense of smell, but actually my sense of humor. So
I think we should mention it now. Why not? We booked the next time we're going to see each other, technically. Which is when,
and it's
Jen?
gonna be scary.
It's gonna be What are we doing, Jen?
We are going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
Oh, we should dress up. I didn't even think about that.
No.
Why not, Jen?
I'll tell you why not, Liam.
Why
Have
not?
you been to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party?
We'll do like a marathon outfit version of it.
I was just thinking of wearing black and just being like in black.
Is Dr. Sarah Merrill coming?
No, but I should invite her because she really might. And I'm seeing her just a couple weeks after that. We're going to Disneyland in California together. But yeah, it would be really fun if Dr. Sarah Merrill was there. So I will mention it.
But for now, please add us at Unlimited Time Magic and tell me what outfit I can make Jen wear.
Good Lord.
Maybe like she could be Kronk and I could be Yzma.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe,
oh my gosh.
Maybe we'll dress up, but like something really obscure, like the two bears from Brother Bear.
I don't really love the costume thing, but I'll do anything for you, Liam. Tell you what I won't do.
Tell me, Jen.
I don't want to wear no dang like hot. Like it better be breathable and it better be practical.
You and I are very similar in that way. Jeez, Grandma changed since she.
I gotta be able to wear my orthopedics with it, and if I can't, then forget it.
But I'm really excited. I'm probably really excited. Honestly, I feel very similarly to Boo to You than I do to Disney Electrical Parade. I don't know why, but I don't love that parade, and everyone loves it, and I'm like, whatever.
You know the only part of Boo to You can cancel the whole gosh darn parade. Get rid of the twirlers. Get rid of all of that. Don't care about anything.
They can stay home.
They can stay home. I don't even know what the point is. You know the only scene that I cannot live without, and I've been very upset about? It's the waltzers. Do you know that one of my first YouTube videos, I was so proud of myself because I slowed down the waltzers and I put it to some really amazing music, and I was like, I am Francis Ford freaking Coppola. This is...
I am Alfred non-violent Hitchcock. And I am about to create movie magic.
I am Steven. I can't believe he's this cool Spielberg. That was, I don't know why.
Just you on your iMovie in bed. Like,
yeah, I was like, I'm a filmmaker. Anywho, also too, we've established how I am about, like, I fangirl over choreography a little bit. I'm a little nuts.
You love it.
I'm really into choreography.
You love a step ball change.
I find a lot of people don't even notice choreography, which I suppose phenomenal choreography is a lot like phenomenal film direction. You probably really shouldn't notice it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's part of the storytelling, which I get, but I always notice the choreography. And the dancers that do the waltzing ghosts are so incredible. Right. The choreography is very complicated because waltzing choreography is complicated anyway. And then I watched this thing on, it was either on Disney Plus or, who knows where I watch anything. And she was talking about how they have each couple create their own backstory as to how they were murdered. And that if you watch them, they are playing that out, like whether they were poisoned or whether they were whatever the situation may be. And it's like this whole thing going on, and it's too dang fast. So every year when I watch it, I want to watch it and I want to film it because then I like to go back and look at it later. Oh, and speaking of which, what's the other thing I freak out about at the Halloween party? Speaking of amazing performers.
Oh, Hocus Pocus.
Mm-hmm. Sanderson sisters, which to my knowledge, it can't be the only one, but is one of the few left that has all the leads are performing live.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's an incredible time of year, and we're really heading into the holiday season. But with that holiday season as well brings a certain amount of like stress and chaos, natural chaos. And as we were preparing this week's episode, Jen and I were like, okay, this week's been a lot. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. And a lot of people, like I think Jen did a Q&A, and so many people asked about tips and tricks, not only again in the theme parks, but specific things in our own personal lives that bring us a sense of like peace and comfort in pretty wild times.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe it might be, going to the park, but it might also be coming home from the park and coming back to real life and, any good vacation. How do you get over the hump that is like coming back to your regular life? But Jen, like even this week, what are some of the things that you've been doing to try to like
Yeah.
mellow you out?
First of all, and I said this a little bit on Instagram, but this is a technique that I started studying way back when I was studying really serious, like monastery and Buddhist practices, what monks from different traditions have taught forever. So none of this concept is new. And it's not like specific to one faith tradition. Like the idea of having coping mechanisms and like a toolbox of things that you can draw from.
Yeah.
And being self-aware enough, this is the key, right? To know for you what brings you comfort. Because what brings me comfort could be totally different than what brings Liam comfort or brings Kermit comfort.
Or Dr. Sarah Merrill.
Or Dr. Sarah Merrill comfort. So it's really essential, and this is one of those self-care things that is very hard to do, to develop these things when you're feeling good, when you're in a good space, even if you have to like mark it on your calendar or whatever, and to actually brainstorm with yourself, sometimes maybe with someone who's close to you, who knows you really well. Because sometimes you may think that this is helpful, and they're like, excuse me, but that is not what I see you do when you're in a bad space. And literally writing it down and almost maybe even creating like a physical box, right? That has things in it that when you're in a terrible space, you can open up and be like, oh yeah, that's right. These are the things that bring me comfort. Because when you're in the mess, you don't even there's no brain power.
There's no space.
No space. And you can't like the whole like pull yourself up from your bootstraps nonsense,
I hate that too. It's the same thing for like theater and like never call out of your 8-show week versus like 8 shows a week in the modern musical theater is incredibly difficult. It is, you're relying on muscles that are not built to do a 3-hour show twice a day, sometimes, and then on a weekend, basically 5 times. Like it's crazy. So this whole mentality also in normal regular life of like, suck it up, and it's definitely of a certain generation. Like, yes, there are some millennials in my age gap that are pretty bad, but they got it from somewhere.
I think that we are evolving as a species beyond that. I honestly do, because even as a marathoner, right? I've run 4 full marathons. I've completed dozens and dozens of half marathons. As I used to watch footage, and this is not throwing shade, everyone run your own race, quite literally, of someone literally almost dead, continuing on a race and crossing the finish line. And people would post it as like this inspirational thing. I look at that now and I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Because you may have just trashed a muscle that will never be the same again. Or you may have just pushed yourself to a point of dehydration that it's going to take you weeks to recover from. Like this idea of what does courage look like? And courage to me also means being self-aware enough to know when it's time to quit, when it's time to stop, when it's time to call in.
Do you know what film I think? It's in a very different form, but I'm relating this a lot to Encanto. Because there is
to Luisa.
So much I'm going to keep going until I can't. And I think that is a beautiful message in that film for especially young people, like younger people, to realize, oh, we don't have to be this front-facing, taking all of the power and pressure because maybe you're capable of it. And I think that even I'm learning that lesson a little bit right now of like, cool, you don't need to be this one thing or these, you don't have to be just a brother. You don't have to be just an actor. You don't have to, do you know what I mean? And forcing yourself into
Mhm.
these pigeonholes to try to find some thing of happiness versus I've always had the people around me that make me happy, if that makes sense.
I love I love that I feel I never like to talk about like your generation and my generation because I
Right.
think that's rather fruitless because we all exist simultaneously. My hope though is that we are moving to a space as humans
Mm,
where we know ourselves well enough that no one else has to be okay with my decision to say I can't move forward in this moment. And we don't need to look at someone and say that's a failure because you said that. We need to celebrate that and say no,
right.
actually that's great self-awareness, that's great
Right.
boundaries, that's understanding that you want to live to fight another day, so you're going to retreat. You're not always going to advance. I mean, to use a war metaphor, any general would never just say just advance, 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 advance. You can't. You're
Right.
going to kill all your men. There's going to
Right.
be nobody left, and
Right.
or persons, and there's no point there. And I hate war, so this is a terrible analogy anyway.
Right.
But there has to be a sense of backing up, regrouping, gaining energy, figuring out nutritionally, all those things. So to answer your question, I made a little list. Okay, are you ready?
I love
In
organized living.
Oh, well,
Joyful
in my
living.
planner, I have a list in my planner that I made with my Flair pen of things, and I broke it down. So I don't know if I didn't have you do this. So I
Okay.
also put, yeah, it doesn't matter. I never just write the thing down that I'm supposed to write down. I write down a million other things too. But and the name Pip, I don't know why I wrote the name Pip down because Pip was the
Take it down to the notes. Pip,
yeah.
pip,
You
pip.
remember Pip in Enchanted was the name of her little squirrel friend was
Apple
Pip.
is good. It's my favorite line. Apple is good.
So don't literally. Why do I have Pip? I don't know.
You really
Okay,
don't. Maybe soft love
so
enchanted.
I'm gonna have you do them too because we broke it.
Okay.
I broke it down into food and drink,
Okay.
film, and music.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna start in the food and drink category,
Okay.
and actually, there's one more thing in here. So food and drink and like self care stuff is kind of in the
Okay, yeah.
same category. Okay.
Body.
So I have hot tea because I
Okay.
don't know why, but if you ever read any British novel ever, whenever there's a crisis, it's
Tea.
hot tea. Got to make tea.
And culturally, that's relevant.
And
That
if it,
is that is your wine. Do you know what I mean? When you're like going over, that is an activity that you do with other people. If Jen came into my home right now, I would go, "Do you want a cup of tea or do you want water?" Like it's like, "Do you want a water or do you want a
yep.
Coke or do you want a drink?" It's
There's also something about hot liquid that even if you're in a crisis, I tend to get really shaky and shivery.
right.
And the crisis that happened, which I won't go into, and I thought I was shaky and shivery because of the crisis, but really it was the COVID.
Get him next time.
Oh my gosh,
To speed down my
that's
therapist.
ironic.
Well, isn't that a real treat?
God help me.
Mess.
Anywho, so tea, carbs, particularly like hot bread, not sugar so much for me, like candy wouldn't do anything, but like really like a hot loaf of sourdough bread, something along those lines, right?
Right.
That's a very big deal. Now I can't do that, at least like toast. So tea and toast, very classic. Scrambled
classic,
eggs and toast is like always what I can eat. I avoid alcohol because I
Yes.
try to avoid things that cause me to numb and not feel, because when I'm in a lot of emotional pain, for years, I would try to get around it. And instead of facing it head on, and alcohol tends to help me get around it instead of feeling the things I need to feel. Okay.
Right.
So what are your and hot baths I put down too, again, with the
Right.
temperature regulation thing. So
Right.
what are your like
My
food, drink,
physical
self-care?
thing is probably running. Like if I am anxious and I have no idea, mine is my hands. I'm not shaky. I am like constantly like, or I'm like this, like I'm grappling for something to hit me. And so for me, it is putting all my breath and weight into my body. So that's for me is running. I do like a good hot shower. I like taking care of my voice. That's a big thing because especially when I did musical theater pretty consistently, that would include like hot steam, like essentially steam just to relax and moisturize the throat and the vocal folds, because that is the only thing that actually can touch your vocal folds. So you're like, "Ooh, let me have some water that'll help with my voice." It actually won't. What it does, it re-puts the water into your body that will then affect the voice. So there's this whole thing. So I like steam a lot. I like my scents. I like a good lavender. I love a good hotel contemporary smell. And then what else do I enjoy? Do we have like a leisure section, or is this the leisure?
Sure, you can do leisure. Go for it.
I appreciate a good hotel run at Disney. I really do.
Yeah.
I think there's something really relaxing walking around the Riviera. There's something really relaxing about, the Magic Kingdom Loop. I know you and I went on the Skyliner, and I think that's actually really, especially in the middle of the day.
That's where we got engaged.
That's where we got wed, and where we found out I'm pregnant. But it's true. I was like, it's a great way to, yes, transport, but also to like relax and like feel into our feels. And I'm also a very big Marvel fan, so I enjoy a nice Marvel picture, Marvel film.
Okay, but we're not moving into the movie section yet. You're jumping ahead. Now, I would say, and I do want to add before we move on from this section, I would say too, just being outside even. Yeah. Like you have access to Disney parks. Obviously, I don't in my daily life, but I do happen to live north of Atlanta, where we have some beautiful outdoor space, some gorgeous walking trails. Right. So connecting with nature in some way, just physically walking outside tends to really help ground me, because it's all about when everything is swirling, right? Really all the things we mentioned are about grounding yourself, because you're out of control. You're out of control. What are the things that can bring me back to center? Because you can't make any good decisions or anything when you're feeling that just chaos.
It's this toolbox and building it, and the small things that will ultimately help you breathe. Like it will literally give your brain some space, and like,
because you have options. You panic comes from not having options. So when you build this toolbox, whether it is digitally or it's a physical literal box that you have, or it's in a journal, or it's a notes app on your phone, whatever the case may be.
And you know what? I changed my relationship with social media a lot. Like I remember in high school, I didn't have anything. I didn't have Facebook, I didn't have Instagram, I didn't have anything, because I was the generation raised on the MySpace into Facebook. Like that was my time frame. And when you spend your entire childhood posting all of your hormones in a Facebook status, y'all, it doesn't look cute, doesn't look pretty. And I just realized, but it's true. Like I talk to my therapist all the time about it, that I was like, how like wildly inappropriate, but it's not like my parents could stop me because everyone else was doing it. So it's like, I don't want to stop.
No, you guys were the great experiment when it came to social media. And let me just say, it's very easy now to sit here as parents parenting in a world where there are so many safeguards and so many ways for parents to have a little bit better, not control, but a little bit better oversight. We had nothing, Liam. Your parents, my parents, even though your parents are quite a bit older than I am, you are the same age as my youngest kids, or as my oldest kids. So I understand, like it was an experiment. Nobody understood 100%. How that was. And I feel it. I feel like literally there was an ad about it years ago. Like we dropped you guys off in a terrible neighborhood and just drove away and hoped for the best, because we literally had no idea what we were dealing with. So I definitely think the 25, really like 22 to even like maybe 28-year-olds right now had a much
weirder experience.
Very awful, because it was all new. Nobody knew what we were doing. And bad. Yeah, and we apologize. Collectively, as the parents of all of you, we apologize.
Finally, accountability. Ultimately, like in high school, I left social media completely. So I've had a weird relationship with it. And to this day, I still find disconnecting really useful. It's either I go all in on connecting or fully in on disconnecting. And sometimes when I'm like, just last week I posted on our story, like, what's some like great things happening in your life that we can celebrate right now? And like, I did that because I was like, I want to know what y'all are really excited about in your at Unlimited Time Magic. But in your personal lives, to be like, no, this is why I'm getting up in the morning. It sucks, but knowing that my son is graduating kindergarten, or like my dad has a new car, I'm like, I don't know, but these things are like, I don't really emotionally understand them, but I understand that it's causing a really great response for the other people. So in that way of connecting, it's really, really great. And I really, really love it. So, but I also think putting down your phone and like doing something physical is really important, whether it's running or whether it's like board games. I love board games.
Oh, see, that's where we have to part company. I hate board games.
Hey guys, it's me, Jen. Are you loving this episode of Unlimited Time Magic? I totally agree with you. It's great, but it could use just a little something. And you can provide that little bit of help that we need to make these podcasts the best that they can be. Just go ahead and head over to our tip jar. Remember, a little goes a long way in helping us produce better episodes for you. Links can be found down in the description or in our link tree on Instagram. See you on Main Street.
There's a great, it's Disney ASMR is also very relaxing. There's a great big beautiful do you hear that? Tomorrow.
It doesn't even sound like what it is though. Like I don't get this ASMR. Okay.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it.
Okay. Are you ready for the next category?
I'm ready.
Okay, next category is
marking things off. Joyful living with Jen
Okay, next category is movies. So in your toolbox, do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Absolutely. Then you can... I mean, I could tell you my movies, but it's really anticlimactic. Okay.
So I'll do mine. So I'm going first? Okay. Are you telling the story or am I? Okay. A lot of lyrics in that song.
Say, can you see?
I've got an old one and a new one, and then a really new one. So, original Parent Trap, not Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap.
Okay.
We're talking
together.
Yeah, original Haley Mills and Haley Mills Parent Trap. Who, by the way, I started watching that movie when I was little, and I did not know that it was the same actor. Didn't know, swear. And then I saw an interview with Haley Mills, and I was like, I wonder where her sister is. Doesn't have a sister. I mean, she might, but
she did a Scenes with a Mirror.
It's just all Haley Mills. Haley Mills. I mean, adore Haley Mills.
I genuinely don't know what other things she's been in.
Oh, lots of things. Summer Magic, which is also one of my favorites. She's also the daughter of John Mills, who played the dad in Swiss Family Robinson. John Mills
was a movie I've never seen.
Very famous British actor. Well, I guess that's what we're going to spend our next time together
in the
doing.
Family Treehouse.
Watching Swiss Family Robinson.
Swiss Miss that was and the Cocoa Crew.
On the Isle of Tonga, I believe, in the South Pacific or in the West Indies. And actually, parts of the set are still there. And the treehouse they physically built, and the locals played in it for years. It was finally destroyed by a hurricane, but it was around for years after Disney left.
So funny.
What? These are the things you learn.
They played in it until there was a hurricane and I died. The great Swiss Miss Hurricane of 97.
Yeah, that was bad. Okay. So anywho, the original Parent Trap. And then Mary Poppins Returns is a fairly new one that I have no idea why. But Lin-Manuel Miranda in that, like the opening scene, the music is just beautiful.
Really charming.
Did you like that film? Because a lot of people didn't like it. I loved it.
Guys, get a life. That's my new saying. I've said it for years. Get a life. I'm like, the people who didn't like Mary Poppins Returns are the same people going, the first one's better. I'm like, It is two separate films. Of course, nothing can come close to Mary Poppins because they didn't know they were making Mary Poppins.
And Emily Blunt is genius in it.
She's so good.
She's just incredible.
She's in the Marvel universe. Wink.
Yeah. Oh, hey, there you go. It all comes back to Marvel. So yeah, Mary Poppins Returns, and then of course, and also I like films that are very, very predictable. Like I'm never when I'm in
And
stress.
that's on anxiety.
Yeah. When I'm stressed, I'm never going to watch a film that I've never seen before. I don't want a new movie. I don't want a new TV show. I want to watch The Office. I want to watch like very predictable things that I've seen 8 million times that I know exactly how it's going to turn out because there is too much uncertainty and I don't need any of that. You know, don't make me watch a new situation.
Right.
And then of course, recent film that is my comfort movie is Encanto because, you know, for obvious reasons.
You said that's on trauma. That's on family trauma.
It is. And also, do you know that it holds the record for like the most replays on Disney Plus? Like people watch this movie over and over and over.
In fairness, I have watched it 3 times. I've watched it a lot.
Yeah. And it's another one that's like, once you know what's going to happen, it's very comforting. Okay, your turn, movies.
Mine is a mixed bag. So
as am I.
What? The film category, I'll start with the Emma Thompson relation. No, you didn't say this. Saving Mr. Banks.
Oh, that's a good one, though. I would have put that on the list if I thought
if you will. Emma Blunt, Emma Thompson. What a beautiful film. Tom Hanks is Disney.
Gorgeous.
I mean, and I want to write a musical version of that film so badly. I think it would be incredible. Another film that I want to turn into a musical is Meet the Robinsons.
Yes. Meet the Robinsons, such a great movie. Oh my gosh.
Such a great film. Yeah. And then we've got our more traditional Liam category, which is not very Disney, but it's White Christmas. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
Are you for real? That's a comfort movie for you?
Oh, I saw Anthony Perkins as a young boy and said, I'm attracted to men.
Oh, so it's for that reason. That makes sense.
And that film is a beautiful film. They kill the main character in the first 10 minutes. What an incredible movie. Singing in the Rain is another film that I just really love. Makes me think of Great Movie Ride every single time. And I just
that's another choreography scene. The Moses Supposes that scene. Holy, you want to talk about choreography for days. That is insane.
Yeah. TV show. Then of course, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, anything with Scarlet Witch, my icon, my legend. I'm down. And also I want to hear people's thoughts. I know Jen hasn't seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse, but Wanda in that one is wild.
Yeah. So the boys have not pre-watched it for me yet. So I can't watch it till they pre-watch it because you know how I do with movies because I struggle because I have PTSD and I can't watch a lot of violence. And I've heard that the violence in that is like not cartoonish, like it's pretty intense.
And the things Wanda does is, what's the word? Intense.
Yeah.
Badass, but intense.
I need them to pre-watch it. Well, I need it to be, I can watch it at home, them to pre-watch it, and then they'll forward through for me and then fill me in and it will be lovely. And that'll be fine.
It'll be great. And then another comfort show is 30 Rock. Always.
Oh yeah. 30 Rock.
I can watch if I'm turning on something just to have something on, 30 Rock.
And then let's move into our favorite category, music. So, my first one is Spotify is a group that you introduced me to that I am now finding so like I can escape into the music. Are you all right over there? You got so excited. You knocked over your microphone. It's I have it right? The Disneylanders. That's the name of them. They don't have enough music produced. Like we need them to come out with some more music because I have now listened to everything. Yeah. So if you haven't listened to them yet, go. How would you describe them, Liam?
I would call it theme park music loops, but the vibe is chill.
Yeah, and it's all mixes of Disney music, but it's done in this kind of stylized, almost like Disney parks music meets like spa music.
Yeah, with like a waiting room, but really cool.
Really hard to explain, and yet it is super comforting. And I wish they had 5 times the amount of music that they currently have out, because I would just put that on a loop and have that on all day long.
I literally
because
do.
absolutely
Whenever I
loved it.
clean, I just put on Disneylanders, and typically the playlist will go into something still pretty relaxing, but it makes me feel like I'm in Adventureland at Disneyland, like living my main character energy. Like that's kind of what it feels like. So,
And it's not
Disneylanders
hype,
are
like
great.
it's very calming, and yet it's bright, which is
Yeah.
exactly like what I need.
I'm pretty sure like a new song had come out, and I went, you know who would really love this is Jen. And I don't think Jen knows this. So I sent
cannot
it
thank
to
you
her.
enough. So they are on Spotify. I again wish they had more music, but they have a fairly good selection. When I'm under stress and anxiety, again with the not wanting to numb, wanting to feel, if I watch something or listen to something that's intense emotion, it kind of helps me have a space for that to live, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Just breathe.
Yeah. So I was listening to another one that you recommended to me. There's a
Timeless.
Barbara Cook. There's a Vanessa Williams, Barbara Cook, Losing My Mind with that other song with it.
Not
I
a
know
day
because-
goes by.
Yes. Very, especially if you're struggling with grief or loss or all of those kinds of things. Like I find there is comfort in the societal commonality of us all experiencing grief. If you're alive, you've experienced grief, right?
But no, is there any more CDs, any CDs
Yeah,
music?
Yeah, I have one more on here, and it is Voctave. So anything
Voctave.
from them. This is, if you don't know, this is our friends that are Voices of Liberty, and then they have their own group, and they were just in Athens a few nights ago. I would have loved to have gone and seen them, but the COVID and stuff. Just there's something about their harmonies, very comforting. They have many albums. Their Broadway one that they just came out with, I think it's called, I can't remember. I'll
Between
look it up.
like Main Street and Broadway or something.
Yeah,
like that.
that's it. Very comforting, and there's not a lot of conflict musically, so it's very soothing and it calms me down and all.
It's very so Derek Johnson, of course, originated the Voices of Liberty and had a very specific, almost like jazz quartet sound, even though it was 8 people, and he stacked his harmonies a very specific way where it sounds very rich and like stretchy, and it's just nice to hear, and you can hear it every day at Voices of Liberty. Still going strong since Epcot's opening. Him and his wife, his wife was in the group for a very long time, for like 40 years, something like that. But anyways, what Jen is talking about is Voctave, and that is very much reminiscent of Derek Johnson.
How did I pronounce it? Did I say Voctave?
Voctave, which I was like, very fancy.
Like the French pronunciation.
Voctave. No, it's an incredible.
Octave makes way more sense. This is like, I used to think Vimeo was Vimeo. Like, I'm not that bright.
Hey, can you put Vimeo on my sandwich?
I called LinkedIn for like 4 years. Not kidding.
Oh,
not kidding.
Jen.
So, we're not all, Rhodes scholars, okay? Some of us are just in here trying to do our best.
I'm about to start masters next week, and it's not going to look pretty.
Kermit.
Keep going.
No, I want to hear. So Disney's paying for your masters, which people don't know that. I find that. What's the program
Disney Aspire
called?
program is really, really great. So if you're a person who needs to finish, who wants to finish high school, undergrad, or graduate school, as long as it is within a field of study that Disney deems kind of like, it's a great business move, because essentially you can get your master's in hospitality and theme park management, entertainment, which is what I'm getting it in, and essentially they think of it as like investing back into you. And so they will basically pay for a certain amount of hours of undergrad or graduate school, and of course your GED as well. So I just took a hold of the opportunity and applied and got it.
Because it's not enough to work full time and be a podcast co-host with me. He's also got to go and further his education.
But then again, I'm very part-time. I'm only doing 2 classes just to kind of get my bearings and to understand whether or not I want to do it.
I know, but the fact that you're doing, and it will be in what? You're pursuing it in
2 years.
Your master's.
Oh, my master's.
I know that.
2.5 years, 2 years. Yeah.
I know. What is the program of study?
Hospitality and entertainment management.
See, which I think is so perfect for you. So perfect.
Yeah,
everything I know about you. I
should be super fun.
think.
I also want to give
Brilliant.
my music tastes, Jen.
Oh,
You didn't
sorry.
ask.
Sorry to interrupt talking about you to talk more about you. Okay. Music, go.
Rosemary Clooney, Bing Crosby, any Disney sing-along from the 90s. There's a specific Typhoon Lagoon one that's wild. Yeah, and it's Goofy singing hot, hot, hot. Anyways, yeah, and crazy. Please
It's
message
Disney, sing along.
Also, there's an Animal
songs.
Kingdom one.
Oh, yeah?
And there was Festival of Lion King performers in front of the Tree of Life. Please message us on Instagram so I can understand whether or not that was real or if I had a fever dream as a child. And also, I know I missed this in the TV category, Samantha Brown, because I would like us, our dream, my dream for us is to be the next Samantha Browns, because I would turn on Samantha Brown's documentary style situations in the parks, and I would love it. She was the original Disney YouTuber, and I said what I said.
Her Animal Kingdom Lodge one, because she was the host of Great Hotels or something like that. She's been on so many different shows.
She's an entrepreneur.
And yeah, I love her. She and I are the same age too, so I've told you that. That's why I'm a little obsessed with her anyway. But yeah, and look at what she's done, and look at me sitting here with Kermit.
I'm sitting with you, Liam.
Look at me. I'm just kidding. I've done a lot in my life. I stand by it. I stand by my life.
I can officiate your wedding.
It's true. And I kind of raised 3 humans that are walking around not.
And now 4.
Yeah. I did have to have a conversation with my sons that Mommy isn't replacing you with Liam.
And I said, as I come in with slippers and robe, your robe, the contemporary robe.
Well, first of all, they laughed, and then they seconded the same thing that I told you that Scott would say, that, they've all been looking for someone to play with me for years. There has not been enough. They're like, we just can't give you what you need in terms of your Broadway, Disney, all of this stuff. And, my one son. I
walked in.
Well, I had one of my sons is gay, and I was hopeful, but turns out that was just a stereotype.
And you're like, darn it. I'll get him next time.
I was promised. What?
I was promised. I'm willing to go through trauma with you, okay?
Did you know that not all gay men also love Disney?
Disney and unicorns?
I don't understand.
Meanwhile, my dad was like, why do you like Phil Collins so much at the age of 7, listening to Disney Mania? The dream is so incredible. Oh, Jen, hit it. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Question of the week. Question of the week. You put them on Instagram and you ask us stuff. It's question of the week. Get your COVID vaccinations.
Joffrey's or nah. Period. And I have a very distinct opinion about this.
Then you go first.
No. That's it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Just wait for the Starbucks line. It'll probably be faster.
Yeah. So I don't like Joffrey's either. I actually don't like Starbucks that much, if I'm going to be really honest. I like
tap water.
No. What I like is to go over to Coda Cafe and get a press pot. I like, the
pot.
Press pot. What's a press pot? Like that kind of old school coffee. That
you mean like a French press?
Thing. Yeah.
What did you call it?
Press. A press pot.
That's
what it's called. It's not press crazy.
Pot. You want to buy some press pot? You want to buy
I'm gonna get myself a new press pot. I'm gonna put it in my Dooney and Burke bag.
That'll be my carry-on. All right, and if you want to help better Jen's coffee taste, you can think about maybe giving us a tip in the tip jar, and maybe we can get her some better Sanka for Kermit and Jen and
it's
Scott.
The right thing to do. There you go.
I want to thank my friends over the tip jar for tipping us, because genuinely, I know I get messages every single week on Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic. About getting a Patreon. Y'all, someday we will. Someday, genuinely, we will. I'm not just saying that. Someday we will. But as of right now, the tip jar is the best way for better editing, better equipment, and just a better overall experience for us to try and put time aside to really work on this podcast for you. And our friends, are we ready? Donated, and I wanted to celebrate them.
How many are there? How many names are there?
Ready?
Yep.
Count it on your fingers, Jen. Ready? Robin, Jill, Stephen, Shelly, Tammy, Alicia, Lisa, Donna again, Casey, Andrew, and Emma.
That's going to be 11. That's going to be 11. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. My name is Mrs. Maisel. Thank you. Good night.
You've been a fabulous audience, everybody. Thank you. We appreciate you very much.
Y'all, we literally are halfway through this season. We're now over. It's episode 5. We've got 4 more.
Crazy.
4 more. So please reach out to us on Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic in case you want to see something, feel something, I don't know. And we will answer or maybe not. And it'll be
But we're already planning for season 2. So if you have
I wanted that to be an announcement, but I guess
but we we don't know if we're gonna do it yet. We just talk about maybe doing it. I didn't announce anything. I said maybe we'll do it. Loose lips.
We need season 2 ideas. Oh, but we might not do it.
Well, I might get mad at you. I don't know what's going to happen. What could happen?
That I have another wife.
you have another Skyliner wife that you met with another Dooney and Burke big. So, but no, seriously, I love hearing y'all's ideas. So
please reach out to us. Tip if you can, and y'all, we'll see you next week for another rousing rendition of Unlimited Time Magic.
Love you, bye.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Unlimited Time Magic with Jen and Liam. Don't be afraid to follow us on Instagram at Unlimited Time Magic, where you can find links to our YouTube channel where we upload every episode where you can see our faces, and also to our tip jar. Any bit of money helps to produce better episodes for you guys. So we'll see you next week, and we'll see you on Main Street. Bye.